Hello everyone, welcome to the third episode of Teacher Talk Tuesday. I hope you're liking my upgrade in my setup. I've just put you guys a bit further back because not every day up in the face. Today's topic, and I'm just going to get myself comfortable here. Today's topic is all about finding the right job. Now, when I went on Instagram and asked you guys what kind of videos you wanted to see in this series, somebody commented and they said, how do you pick the school to apply to when you're looking for jobs, like during your PGCE? And I think it's a really good question. And the first thing I would say to you is you need to be aware of the school that you're currently training in, the demographics of that school, and if you can see yourself doing your first year of teaching as an NQT in a similar kind of school. And when I say demographics, I mean, which kind of area are you in? Are you in a really affluent area where the children generally have quite a stable home life? You know, they've got at least one very good earner in the home, if not two, and they're used to having things a certain way. They have support at home. Are you in more middle of the road kind of area where it's a bit of a mix of children? Some children have lots of support at home, some children don't. You know, it's a real melting pot of different experiences for the children. Or are you in a slightly more deprived area where the home life of the children is the most difficult to perhaps see? The home life of the children is the most difficult for them to go through. Because there's three different types of schools in my opinion, and they are definitely based on the area that you're in. Now, if you've just moved to a new place and you have no idea, for me, when I trained in the same town that I'd lived in for at least 20 years. So I had a very good idea of the different types of areas in this town. And I knew consciously that when I went out looking for jobs, I knew there's going to be a big difference between each different area and each different school. There is no one best school between these three groups, between affluent, in the middle, and deprived. And quite honestly, people who think that, oh, if you're going to work in an affluent area, in an affluent sort of school, you're going to have an easier time, that's not true. It's just not the case. I think the first thing you need to do is decide which one of these three you would feel most comfortable working in. And there's no right or wrong answer to this. You're not a better person for wanting to work in a more affluent area. You're not a better person for wanting to work in a more deprived area. It just depends on you as a person, and quite honestly how much you can take and what you expect of your teaching experience. For me, I was definitely one of those teachers who wanted to make a real difference, and so the school that I trained in, mainly, I would say, is more on the affluent side. The children were pretty well off. Some of them were quite what I would determine or deem as quite spoilt, and I found training there really good. I learnt a lot, I picked up a lot, I understood a lot. But then when it came to looking for jobs, and this is something that I started to do in the January time of my PGCE year, so, well, maybe towards Christmas time actually. When it came to looking for jobs, the first thing I did was I spoke to my mentor about it, and I spoke to my assistant head teacher about it. Two amazing women who really helped me in my journey of teaching so far. And I said, look, I don't know exactly where to go from here. I don't know where to look for. I don't know what to look for. What advice do you have? And the thing is, teaching is a very generally, and I know some of you have messaged me saying I can't find a job, and that's really tough if you can't find a job. And inshallah something will come your way. Don't worry, don't give up. I will talk about that in another video, but definitely don't be disheartened by that. But on the whole, teaching is always a career that schools are looking for. Head teachers are looking for new teachers, and they love an NQT. And the simple reason, there's two reasons to that. The first reason is because of budget. We cost the least amount of money for them, so an NQT is the cheapest form of their teaching labour. The second reason is that generally NQTs have just finished training and they're full of energy and they're bubbly and they've got an open mind to the teaching approach, and you know, you need that fresh kind of energy in a school for it to maintain the equilibrium. So I spoke to my mentor and my head of year, understood where I was coming from in terms of working in a more affluent area, and they actually really encouraged me to start looking for schools in a slightly more deprived area. And at first I was like, I don't know if that's for me, but I think you have to be very open-minded in this process when it's looking for jobs. Don't think, oh, I know exactly what I want. No, unless you do know exactly what you want. But if you were like me and you weren't totally sure, don't close any doors. Leave them open. And the best thing you can do is look on your local council website or wherever the sort of teaching jobs are. Generally, there is going to be application job requirements on the council website. Go on there. There's probably going to be 6, 7, 8, maybe 10, maybe 20 different schools. Read through the schools. Give yourself this time to look at their website. Go onto the website and see what you can find. And the website is going to tell you a lot about a school. The About Us. Have a read of that. Have a look at their values. Have a look at what they say that is important to them. Then have a look at Meet the Team. Have a look at the team in the school. Is it a diverse team? Is it not a diverse team? Are there lots of women there? Are there a few men there as well? Think about what's important to you. And then have a look at the curriculum pages, have a look at, usually they have like class pages, have a look at some of the quality of work that they put up there. Now obviously if a school's going to be putting up work on the website, it's going to be the best work, so don't like totally judge it like that and be like, oh, my class are going to be like just like this example of work here and it's going to be amazing. Definitely give yourself time in this researching process to really look through the website. And then if they have social media, look through their social media and look at what their interactions are, look at what sort of things they're tweeting. Some schools absolutely love extracurricular events and they will have pictures of all these different events going on after school, and maybe that's something you're passionate about. Some schools have a massive focus for mental health and well-being for both staff and children, and I think most of us like watching this video would agree that that's something that we would want in a place of work. You are going to be able to tell a lot by a school, number one, based on what they're choosing to put out to the world in that website. The second thing to do then is jot down the names of the schools that pique your interest. And this is what I mean when I say don't close your doors. Don't think that you have to find the one perfect school and it's going to be amazing and fantastic. Realistically, that's not the case. Unless you're the head teacher and you're calling the shots and making all the rules, you're not going to find a school that ticks all your boxes. It's just not going to happen. So be open-minded. Think, right, okay, I like the look of this school. I like the way that this school does this. I like the fact that this school has lots of facilities. I think this school is really ethnically diverse and I can see myself working in a place like that. This school has this, you know, X, Y, Z. That's what I did. I came down to 5 different schools in the end, which I would be interested in looking into. And this is the part where you really have to believe in yourself and you have to kind of give yourself a pep talk before you pick up the phone. And you have to tell yourself that, you know, I am learning, I'm qualifying as you know, as I think this, as I speak. I am picking up so much knowledge. Every single lesson I'm teaching, I am either getting better or learning from it. If I make mistakes, that's fine, it's part of the learning process. I'm amazing, I'm valuable, I'm going to be a brilliant teacher. You have to have that belief in yourself before you approach your school, because they're going to sense that confidence. They're going to, not obviously, don't be over the top like, I'm the best thing since sliced bread and if you don't hire me, you're going to regret it. No. But definitely go in with a sense of, I am valuable and a school would be, you know, lucky to have me, and that is going to go a long way. So now you pick up the phone and you start calling these schools, and most likely you're going to get through to the reception, and here is where you say, hello, I'm currently in my PGCE year or my training year. I'm looking for an NQT job and I noticed you had a vacancy. Please can I have some more information? And generally, like 9 times out of 10, they're going to say, oh, brilliant, we'd love to like see you and invite, and the head teacher would love to invite you in and chat with you and show you around the school. When are you available? And sometimes they'll ask you your email and they'll send you a little pack which has more information that the website didn't have on it for potential teachers who are looking into that school. Head teachers are going to want to meet you, or deputy heads are going to want to meet you. They're going to want to get a sense of if you're right for their school, which is totally fair enough. It's their school, it's their rules, who they employ. And you're going to want to get a sense of, is this SLT right for me? Can I see myself working under these people? Because at the end of the day, like, your head teachers, like your manager, your assistant heads are like your co-managers, or deputy managers. They all play a massive role in your experience of that school. So once you've spoken to the school, once you've set up a meeting and you are ready to go and see the school, this is where you will get your second sort of biggest idea of if you can see yourself working there or not. Is when you step in, well, not even when you step into the school, when you're driving up to the school, you're seeing the outside of the school. Don't judge a book by its cover, because some of the best schools that I've seen don't look the best on the outside. It's, at the end of the day, it's about the teachers, it's about the passion, and it's about the bonds and relationships that they're building with children. That is what really makes a school outstanding in my eyes. I'm no Ofsted inspector, but that's really what makes a difference. Not having the fanciest high-tech equipment, or having shiny new this and shiny new that. Like, just because a school seems to somehow have a bigger budget than another one doesn't make them elite. It's about looking and listening. When you're walking into that school and you're sort of taking it all in, look at the children. How do they seem? Do they seem happy? Do they seem okay? Do they seem content? Look at the way our staff members are speaking to them, interacting with them, speaking to each other, interacting with each other. I think maybe this is a psychologist in me and my psychology background, but I feel like you pick up a lot about something if you just take a moment, step back, and just observe. Just observe what the general feel of the school is. And then, of course, when you meet with the SLT, when you meet with the head, you're going to get a big first impression there as well. Now, obviously, if you've got to this point and and everything's going well, and generally the head teachers do make a good impression. I haven't really met many head teachers who I think, oh gosh, I could not work for you. Maybe one or two, but generally they're going to be professional. They're going to want to show you the best parts of their school. They're going to want to give you information, and this is your chance to really look around, to imagine yourself working within these walls every single day, to imagine yourselves making a difference to these children in this school every single day. And you have to establish that if your values and the school's values align. Now, if you think that restorative practice is super, super important, but the school's behaviour policy is not that at all, then that's not going to be the place for you. If you find it personal to you that it's important that you're working around a diverse team, which is something I did find, especially for my first job, and everyone in your school is the same ethnicity and the same gender, that's not going to work for you. I mean, you could be that person who goes in there and makes a change, and that there's something very empowering in that, which I will speak about in another video. But I think you need to think about the fact that this is your first job. This is where you're going to be becoming a newly qualified teacher. This is where your basis of your career is starting. And you don't try to settle, is what I'm trying to say to you. Don't settle for less than what you deserve. And like I said already, there is not any such thing as a perfect school. Every single school has their issues. They have staff members who might be a bit difficult. They have maybe parents who are difficult. There might be the fact that you are in a more affluent or a more deprived area. There's good and bad to each side of the coin wherever you are, and I feel like I've had a really good experience so far in working with both sides. Obviously, I've not worked in a private school, which is probably the most affluent you could get, but I would still say I've had the experience of working in both. So definitely take your time to take things in, consider your options here. Generally, they do want an answer quite quickly, because obviously they've got a vacancy out there and they don't want to spend too much time with advertising and everything else. Like, if they like you, you'll get calls back, you'll have a good feel of the school, and you'll be invited back for interview. If you obviously want to take the opportunity up, then that's up to you. But yeah, definitely don't settle for less. take in everything that you can, and if possible, and I know this is hard, but if possible, try to speak to people who either have children at the school or who work at the school in some way. That obviously is only going to apply if you are trying to work in an area that you're very familiar with. You might be able to do that, and hopefully they're going to give you a really good, honest opinion of what it's like to work there. And yeah, that's basically all I can say. I mean, obviously I've only been employed in one school so far in my career, but I have had so much experience in, first of all, going into other schools and meeting the SLT and really looking around and trying to figure out if that's a place where I want to be in. And also on the flip side, like with the Middle East, phoning different schools, looking at their websites, being on Skype interviews, on telephone interviews, speaking to head teachers. I feel like I've got such a wealth of experience now that I have a good judge of character as well, and I know what I need to know. And there is an element of you're never really going to know what school is like until you're working there. That's true, but at the same time you can get a very, very good picture and a very good feel for the type of environment that that school is bringing, which is just by doing a bit of extra research and just by being a little bit more conscientious when you are in that process of looking for a job. So I've coming up to the 16-minute mark now, so I'm going to stop here. I hope this video was helpful. If you are a teacher currently and you have anything else to add to this topic of finding your first job, definitely leave it down below. And if you did enjoy this video, hit thumbs up, and I will see you in my next one. Thanks so much for watching. Bye!